Worry is not just a feeling, it is a mindset. And a mindset is formed by what we choose to meditate on daily. Most people think worry comes from external pressure, finances, relationships, health, or global uncertainty. But the truth is, worry is born not from what happens to you, but from what you believe about what happens to you. A person can go through a storm and sleep peacefully, while another can panic even in sunshine. The difference is not in the environment, but in the internal architecture of their belief system. Living worry-free begins with questioning what you really believe, not what you say you believe. What you actually believe when you're alone. If deep down you believe you are alone, unsupported, exposed to every storm of life without backup, then you have already given worry permission to control your heart. But if you believe that your life has purpose, your future is not random, and you are part of something bigger than yourself, then your foundation becomes stronger than your fears. You see, worry is a misuse of imagination. It's the creative force of your mind hijacked by uncertainty. When you worry, you are prophesying your own failure, using the power of your own thoughts. You're rehearsing a future you don't want, energizing the very outcome you fear. But here's the catch. Worry doesn't remove tomorrow's problems. It only drains today's strength. You weren't designed to carry a future that hasn't happened yet. You were designed to make decisions in the present with wisdom, faith, and clarity. Worry interrupts that design. It clouds clarity. It weakens your decisions. It causes you to prepare for failure instead of positioning yourself for breakthrough. And if you keep feeding it, it will spread like fire in a dry forest, consuming your joy, your focus, and eventually your confidence. To live worry-free, you must rebuild your belief system with intentionality. Start by defining your identity. Who are you beyond your job, beyond your relationships, beyond your circumstances? If all those things change tomorrow, do you still know who you are? Because when identity is unclear, insecurity breeds worry. But when identity is anchored, storms become tests, not threats. Life doesn't promise the absence of pressure. It promises the opportunity to rise through it. But only those with rooted beliefs can do that. So ask yourself, what do I believe about the future? Do I believe that life is random or that it has purpose? Do I believe setbacks are punishments or that they are lessons? Do I believe I am built for what I am facing or that I am a victim of what I'm facing? The answers to these questions shape the way you live. They determine whether your mind becomes a battlefield or a sanctuary. And if you want peace, you must stop feeding the fear. Worry is fed by repetition. It grows when we dwell on negative possibilities over and over again. But peace is also fed by repetition, by focusing on truths, principles, and values that align your mind with clarity and resilience. You cannot just remove worry, you must replace it. Replace anxious thoughts with intentional declarations. Replace your reaction with strategy. Replace the urge to panic with the habit of planning. Replace shallow fears with deep understanding. And above all, stop giving worry your attention, because whatever you focus on, you empower. To understand the source of worry is to take back your authority over your own life. You may not control everything, but you do control what you meditate on. You do control how you respond. And you do control what kind of soil you give to the seeds of thought that enter your mind. Worry is not your natural state. You were designed for peace. You were engineered for dominion, not panic. But peace requires discipline. It requires maturity. It requires you to choose what you will believe, even when your feelings disagree. Because feelings follow focus. And the moment you stop feeding fear, you start feeding freedom. Living a worry-free life does not mean you stop caring. It means you learn to identify the difference between what deserves your concern and what demands your control. Concern is human. It's awareness, responsibility, and love in action. But control is often an illusion. You were never meant to control every outcome, every person, every variable. The tragedy of worry is that it disguises itself as preparation, but it's really paralysis. Worry says, if I just think about it long enough, I can avoid pain. But concern says, I recognize the challenge and I'm preparing with wisdom, not fear. Many people spend their energy trying to control outcomes they were never meant to own. They try to control how others perceive them. They try to control the speed of their promotion, the timeline of their dreams, or the reactions of people who don't even understand their vision. The result: exhaustion, resentment, and confusion. But the key to peace is prioritization. You must ask, what is in my hands and what is not? What belongs to my decision and what belongs to divine timing, to others' choices, or to circumstances beyond my reach? When you answer with honesty, you stop spending your life trying to fix things that don't belong to your assignment. Releasing control is not giving up. It's choosing what battles are worth fighting. It's choosing to be responsible without being burdened. It's knowing that preparation is yours, but outcome is not. When you focus on mastering your response instead of manipulating the result, you unlock peace. Because peace doesn't mean you don't act. It means you act from a place of authority, not anxiety. And when you do that, life begins to respond differently. Opportunities align. People respect your conclusions. You stop reacting and you start leading. The reason many people live with worry is not because life is too hard, but because their foundation is too shallow. When your identity is built on fragile things, people's approval, temporary achievements, unstable relationships, you will constantly feel the tremors of anxiety. That's because worry thrives in emptiness. It feeds on uncertainty that has no anchor, no direction. But when you live with a sense of deep personal purpose, the noise of worry loses its grip on your mind. Your purpose is what gives storms meaning. It doesn't remove the winds, but it gives you a reason to hold your ground. When you know why you were born, what you are called to create, build, serve, or heal, then moments of fear become temporary, not permanent. You stop measuring your life by what you feel and start measuring it by what you're becoming. Purpose reframes delay as development. It turns failure into instruction. It transforms rejection into redirection. Worry begins to dissolve not when you avoid conflict, but when you understand it's part of the design. A seed doesn't fear the dark soil. It knows it's where growth begins. So, anchoring your life to a greater purpose also means learning to silence the external voices that don't align with your mission. You can't live in peace if you let everyone's opinion rent space in your head. Purpose teaches you which voices matter. And once you clarify that, you become unshakable. That's when peace becomes your default, not panic. Because now, even when life shifts, You don't. You stay grounded. You're no longer just reacting to circumstances. You're responding to destiny. Worry is not just an emotion, it's a habit. And like all habits, it can be unlearned, but only if you become intentional about what you feed your mind every day. The mind is like fertile ground. Whatever you plant, it will multiply. If you sow fear, doubt, and negativity through your thoughts, media consumption, or conversations, then worry will grow like weeds. But if you plant faith, gratitude, and vision, then peace becomes the fruit. It's not automatic, but it is achievable. Peace is not found in the absence of problems. It's built in the presence of perspective. It's a mental decision you make in the face of chaos that says, this storm may be loud, but it's not louder than my purpose. This situation may be heavy, but it's not heavier than my mindset. And that kind of peace is practiced. You have to train your mind like you train a muscle. You need daily discipline, mental exercises, and consistent inner conversations that remind you of who you are, what you carry, and why you're here. You don't conquer worry by waiting for life to calm down. You conquer it by deciding who you want to be in the middle of it. You wake up and choose not to entertain anxious thoughts. You refuse to rehearse failure before it happens. You replace what if with even if. Even if the plan shifts, I remain focused. Even if the door closes, another one will open. Even if people walk away, peace won't. Because it wasn't given by them. It was built within me. That's how worry dies. Not through avoidance, but through daily training in choosing peace. Worry is a thief that only survives if you keep feeding it. The moment you decide to starve it, with focus, with faith, with purpose, it begins to lose its grip on your mind. Life will always give you a reason to stress, but purpose will always give you a reason to stand. You were not designed to be overwhelmed. You were designed to overcome. Peace is not a luxury, it's your birthright. But like all powerful things, it must be claimed, protected, and practiced. So the next time worry knocks, don't answer with fear. Answer with identity. Remind yourself who you are, what you carry, and who sent you into this world. You're not here to survive anxiety. You're here to defeat it. You're not here to run from the storm. You're here to walk through it, still standing, still focused, still free. Right? And the world won't know what to do with someone who lives like that.